Reporting on what the mainstream media won't, you're listening to the HAGMANN and HAGMANN Report on the Global Star Radio Network. Welcome to the HAGMANN and HAGMANN Report. This segment, Greg Hunter, USAWatchdog.com. You know the man. I mean, he's everywhere across the internet talking about what lies ahead, what we can expect in 2017. He had just come out with a early Sunday release. If you haven't gone to USAWatchdog.com, I go there all the time. I love his interview style. I love the information which he offers. 2017 predictions on Trump, gold, silver, housing, stocks, bonds, and Antarctica. That by Cliff High. Did you catch that, folks? Did you take a look at that yesterday in your haze? Perhaps. If not, you got to do that. Of course, Greg Hunter interviewed Cliff High, internet data mining expert. And he says, forget about the rumors and predictions of Donald Trump being blocked from taking office. He's going to take office. It's going to be a relatively smooth transition. There's no data, no hard stop, nothing like that. And but he gets into some pretty interesting stuff. Predictive linguistics. That's what Cliff High. That's what Cliff High calls what he does, is predictive linguistics. He mines the internet and collects the billions of data points to produce forecasts of the future. And that is the investigative work product of Cliff High, but it's just very well delivered by Greg Hunter. Is Greg on with us? All right. Greg, it's been too long. It's been a couple months since your last appearance here, actually before the election. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
Man,
Trump won.
Yeah.
The mainstream media, how did they get it so wrong? Because they wanted to. Because it was a psyop. They wanted to. They got it wrong because they wanted to. Nobody's that wrong. It's too stupid to be stupid, as Jim Sinclair says. It's too stupid to be stupid.
Well, you know, if I can ask, let me go on out on a limb here. I know that you were part of the broadcast media, the mainstream media at some point. I mean, so you
ABC and Good Morning America and CNN. I was the investigative guy for both networks.
So you know
one of the investigative guys.
Yeah, you know the inside baseball, right? I mean, I do. Yeah. All right. So
I did nothing but work with standards, legal, and top management. Nothing. That's all I did. I didn't do here tip, see tip, run. Here's a flood. There's a terrible building fire. I didn't do any of that stuff. I did stuff that could get us sued. I did investigations. I revealed stuff on people. I'd revealed big defects for big companies that got pissed. I mean, I did stuff on the military, on depleted uranium munitions and how terrible it was. I confronted people inside the Pentagon. Yep. You ever been in the Pentagon? You could drive a car around the Pentagon probably 40 miles an hour. It's so big. It's huge.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's
amazing.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Going back to your opening statement, they got it wrong because they wanted to get it wrong. And of course now the blowback. Yeah. So what's up with the blowback? I mean, I just shake my head, Greg. I shake my head as I watch or try not to watch the mainstream media and listen to the commiserating bobbleheads just still in shock.
WikiLeaks exposed exposed all these people. Remember Glenn, what is this, Thrush? He got hired at New York Times to be a political reporter.
Yeah.
And they called him a exceptional, some kind of a great political reporter. He called himself a hack in the WikiLeaks. Thank you, WikiLeaks. He was exposed. John Harwood exposed. People at the New York Times exposed for giving up editorial control. And these are the people to the Democrats. And these are the people that are going to be covering Trump in the White House. I got news for you. He's not going to stick Spicer in front of these people every day and let them try to chew him to pieces. He's not going to do it. He doesn't need them. He doesn't need them.
So
he can just tweet out. He's got 45 million Twitter followers. They don't need the mainstream press anymore. They don't need the gatekeepers of the mainstream press. They don't need them. That's what Spicer was on, saying that he's got 45 million Twitter followers. Now, if you add up the World News Tonight, the evening newscast at 6 or 6:30, from the networks, and you add up CBS and ABC and NBC, those are and Fox, he's got more Twitter followers than all of those networks combined.
Man,
what does he need them for?
He doesn't. He
and
doesn't.
Then when he tweets, they all cover him anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. Let them cherry pick their questions, especially when they are obviously the New York Times, which remember they did that letter. Oh, we're going to report now without fear or favor. And we covered the election fairly. Oh, it's a Baghdad Bob moment. I mean, the New York Times, and they hire Thrush. They hire a guy that called himself a hack and exposed by WikiLeaks. They had to have him as somebody to cover the president. You got to be kidding me.
Exactly.
It's John Harwood who was given advice and bragging about how he got Trump to, try to lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to get him to lose it, and here we have this criminal Hillary Clinton who used private servers to take treasonous bribes in the form of quote-unquote donations to her global charity fraud. She didn't maintain the federal record. That's another felony, and the reason why she didn't because she was doing hinky, dirty, treasonous things with her Clinton Foundation and selling out America while she was at the State Department. That's my opinion.
Well, mine as well. I echo that opinion.
And they didn't cover that. Wasn't a story.
No, of course not.
Global charity fraud wasn't a story.
No.
But Bob Woodruff should give back his Pulitzer because what they did, what she did with the State Department, what she did up and down the ladder of treasonous bribes and racketeering and the Clinton Fraud Foundation and multiple servers that you had zero protection. You could it's like coming to my front door and blowing on it and the door opening up. That's what protection she had on her server. None. Zero. Nuka. Nada. And what Nixon did was erase 18 minutes of tape and get caught for obstruction of justice and not maintaining federal records, got a pardon for it. Well, what she did was off the charts.
Well, yeah.
And that wasn't a story to the Washington Post. And incidentally, who just did another fake news story about Russia hacking the power grid, and the DHS says that's not true.
Well, yeah.
So,
yeah, and
it's just unbelievable. And these are the people that are going to be covering, and they're got their lip puffed out. What they're really mad about is they're being sidestepped. They're being thrown on the dust pile, the dustbin of history. They're not needed. They don't need the mouthpiece of ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News. They don't need any of CNN. He doesn't need them.
Right.
He doesn't need them. And what do we have, 90 old-timey newspapers, legacy media, 90, 100, I don't know what it was, all endorse Donald Trump? That didn't work either. Nobody cares, and people think they're liars, and people think they have lost a lot of their credibility, and they're going down.
Yeah.
I mean, the New York Times has written out 8 floors of their building. They don't need 8 floors of people at the Gray Lady. They don't need that. And then they're hiring Glenn Thrush, who admitted hack in YouTube accounts to cover the president. It's off the charts. It's unbelievable.
It is. It is. Well,
they don't care about their business model. They don't care about going out of business. They're so wrapped up in their ideology. And listen, I'm not a Republican. What they did with Trump, it was off the charts, unfair, off the chart propaganda.
Yeah.
What they did was propaganda.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, now with the NDAA Act infusing that on page 547, they're infusing what is it? The Title V, the establishment of the I can't remember. I can't remember the name of this, but speaking of propaganda, turning the propaganda inward with respect to hiding it inside this funding bill here that passed on the 23rd. And I know that's kind of sketchy, and it's But what do you think about that? I mean, that's
ultimately those cases are going to go to the Supreme Court. Trump's going to put on people who, and I believe him in his word, he's going to put people on the Supreme Court that will support the Constitution. Period, and that means that will not fly. You can't stop. You can't infringe, the First Amendment. You can't do it. Which is Hillary Clinton in her only real interview, on Fox News, Chris Wallace has said, and I don't know why people didn't get off on this. She said, I quote, and so Chris Wallace says, so there are limits to the Second Amendment. Yes, there are. Oh, and there are limits to the First Amendment. And that to me was the most chilling thing she said. Wow, there's limits on your religion and on your freedom of speech and your right to gather? Really? You're running for president? You're going to uphold the Constitution? No, you won't. She'd have had we were 8 years away from losing the country. I mean, she'd have stuck every left-wing, Sotomayor, leftist, communist, Supreme Court judge, everything she would have done would have been okay, buckwheat, would have been fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's just unbelievable. She was, as a journalist, to me, that's the reason why what made me most sickening about her. Listen, if Trump would have said the same thing, well, I think we had limits on the First Amendment. Man, I wouldn't have been for him either. I mean, the reason why that we have the discourse we have in the country and the truth that we have in the country is the First Amendment first and foremost, and then we had some technology to help us, and that was the Internet. Right. I mean, think about this. At no time was there ever a time where a reporter like me, I was just a low-level reporter, investigative guy at a couple of the networks, right? But I have the same access to the Internet that CNN, Fox News, NBC, ABC, CBS, I have the same access to the global Internet that they do.
Yep.
The same.
Yep.
That to me was unbelievable.
It's a game. I mean, it's a game changer for the independent media. People want to get the truth out, I believe. So, and your audience, I don't know your numbers. I do suspect that your audience probably blows away most of the establishment media.
We probably get, the official number is 2 million a month, but that they sure. lie about the views, and 2 million visitors views a month type thing.
Yeah.
At least my one metric says it's 16 million a month. So I don't know, but that's it's just me, and I have my business partner who's my wife, and I have a consultant in New York. Man, that's ZZ Top. That's like, wow, 3 guys make all that music. That's us. Think about it.
I just had a fly.
I mean, that's kind of an old guy, saying, but I put up something on New Year's Eve. I put the Cliff High thing on New Year's Eve. I zigged when everybody else zagged.
Yeah, I saw
while Don Lemon was, getting his ear pierced and in ranting, on watching some stupid ball drop, I was putting out real programming.
Exactly.
How do they win with that? How do you win there?
Well,
think about that.
Yeah, exactly. What are the masses? Are we that far gone, Greg? Where the masses?
Oh, no, we're not, because look what happened with Donald Trump.
Yeah,
I mean, he had the entire mainstream legacy media complex against him. All the newspapers, all the TV stations, all the local TV stations, all that. I get Time Warner Cable News here. I want to barf. It's entrainment. You got to believe what we believe. We're going to tell you that they had the thing on Sheriff Arpaio, and the local press said, "Oh, that's been totally debunked." Oh, really? Who did it?
Yeah, exactly.
Who debunked that? That's a computer-generated fraud. Who debunked that? I'd like to know. ABC, NBC, CBS, Washington Times, Washington Post, LA Times, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Anybody debunk that? Anybody get a forensic guy out to debunk that? No.
Not one. Nope.
Why not?
It's undebunkable. How's that word for a word? No, you know what?
That's good. Undebunkable.
Well, we had Mike Zullo on, and I'd spoken.
I believe them.
Yeah, I do too.
I believe them. They have yet to come out and say, no, our research says not a single damn person. Where is Bob Woodruff? Where is he? Where is Mr. Pulitzer Prize winner, Mr. Watergate guy? Where is he?
Well,
where is he about the Clinton Foundation? Where is he?
Oh, that's a huge deal too. Greg, do you think with the Clinton Foundation? I got to ask you this because we've got some wonderful citizen journalists, Andrew Kerr, for example, looking into Media Matters for America, David Brock's organization. Some pretty dangerous stuff. Finding some
George Soros' organization, isn't it?
It's David Brock with tangential to Soros, but nonetheless.
Soros is funding it.
Correct. And then you've got this connection to the Clinton Foundation. Do you see anything taking place, any justice being levied upon the Clinton Foundation?
It's a funding. What it is a funding mechanism. Period. The end. Forget about the Clinton. They're doing good things or whatever. I had Charles Ortel on. You ought to have him on as a guest. But he says, listen, this is pay to play. Proving that is a different deal than simply charging that they're a global charity fraud. Then they're beholden. They are the ones beholden to prove they're not, and they can't. And he pegged it at $100 billion. This is Charles Ortel, who does workups for Wall Street companies and stuff like that. People will come to him and say, I want to donate money to somebody, but here's who I want to donate to. Are they real? Will you look at it and tell me if it makes sense or not? Because I don't want to donate to a fraud. But a lot of these people were donating. They knew it was a fraud. They're paying to play ahead of time, and they're donating to this foundation. I had Pollock on. And Warren Pollock, and he said, listen, they're going to have to, he said this, we talked about it in an interview, and he said it in the pre-interview, and he just blurted out, he's going to have to go after him, that's all. He's going to have to go after some of the swamp things to get him off his ass. He's going to have to, and the biggest target's going to be Clinton and their foundation, because the Democrats use it as a funding mechanism.
Would you say, in your estimation, in your personal opinion, a money laundering operation, or merely a funding operation, or perhaps both?
Listen, many FBI people, and I'll source this, James Kallstrom, former assistant FBI director, said it's a huge, huge criminal conspiracy. Other people, Giuliani, called it a RICO act. It's RICO. It's racketeering. It's people getting, it's crime. Now, what kind of crime that is and what can you prove? I don't know, but more than one person has called this a criminal enterprise.
Sure.
It is not what they say it is, and it's not. And they say, "Well, we've done good things." Well, that's like a bank robber going out and knocking off the First National Bank for $200,000, and then giving $20,000 to the homeless shelter. Hey, I did some good things, man. I mean, right?
Yeah, that's.
So that's what it's like to me. It's preposterous that the mainstream press can be that willfully ignorant. And I hate to rag on Woodruff or 60 Minutes, but they're scams. He's a scam. They're a scam, in my opinion. That's too stupid to ignore. You've had Democrats to ask the Clintons to please shut down the Clinton Foundation. Why? Because they're doing so much good.
Yeah.
Because they're doing great stuff.
No, right.
No, because they know it's a scam.
Well,
and so that's what the whole deal is. That's what it is. And Obama may run into a real buzzsaw with Trump. The Democrats are huffing and puffing, and the mainstream media is overblowing how much they're going to be able to do. Listen, he won, and he's in charge.
That's right.
And I'll tell you some interesting things that I think about his appointments. First, and I'm not a big, I'm not a Republican at all. Actually, I like Rex Tillerson. I think he's going to make it. But I think one of the most, and also, if you take a look at what he's doing, he put James Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, at the Pentagon, the Secretary of Defense. Yep. And, we had all these Seymour Hersh stories breaking out a year ago or so about how the Pentagon was helping Assad and the Russians against ISIS and the CIA. Oh, we have a internal government, little battle going on. Now, who does he put in front of the Pentagon? Oh, yeah, a Pentagon guy, a general. Oh, who does he put in front of Homeland Security? Oh, a Marine general. Oh, yeah. John Kelly, another Marine general, 4 stars. Hey, I'd say 4-star Marine generals are a pretty small universe. You think these guys are going to work together? You think these guys are going to go war internally? You think he's getting ready to establish that? I was telling you in the pre-interview, they said, well, what about the Federal Reserve and all that? Well, you got to listen. The inauguration is the landing on the beach. He's got to establish a beachhead.
That's right.
You can't just have war all over the place. He's got to start somewhere. He's got to establish a beachhead. Yep. That's what he's going to do. And, as far as the Federal Reserve and how they're, a corrupt, illegal organization, he's got to be careful. He doesn't do too much and blow everything up. He's got to change it while keeping it intact. He's got to change it while not blowing it up. And it might blow up anyway. And so, but I think the most important, one of the most interesting appointments that he made was a guy by the name of Dan McGahn. He's a former chairman of the Federal Election Commission. Of all the lawyers he could go get, why would he get an election commission chairman attorney? Why would he do that? Because he's thinking about 2020? Because he's going to go after the voter fraud? Thank you, Jill Stein, for exposing the voter fraud that one judge cut short up in Wayne County. And we know there are more voters than people who were registered to vote. And they had ballot box stuffing, and they couldn't make heads or tail out of, 400 precincts. And, the left keeps telling us there's no voter fraud. There's no election fraud. Well, meanwhile, California is out giving 800,000 driver's licenses, and we can't check their license before they vote. That's disenfranchising. Right, there's no voter fraud. Right. Project Veritas, the DNC was paying people to do what? Voter fraud. Yes. Oh, yeah, got them on camera and had even the chain of payment from all the way from Hillary Clinton to the DNC down to some other people, so they have plausible deniability all the way out to them, and they quit. And, you had Kramer, who was doing some Nazi stuff, which was, committing violence at other people's rallies, like at Trump rallies. And he had 300 visits to the White House and 40 visits with the president, supposedly, according to records. And, he quit, too.
Yeah, and let's not.
Yeah, they don't ever do any dirty tricks or voter fraud or anything.
Well, exactly, and let's not forget his wife
McGahn,
too.
as his top White House counsel, he's setting himself up. He's getting ready to go to war. He's getting ready to go after the voter fraud. He's getting ready to go after it, and he's gonna do it. People are. Trump doesn't need a $400,000 a year job. I think. Well, you think he's no. I don't think he's doing that. No, and I don't think Wilbur Ross doesn't need a $300,000 a year job. Rex Tillerson doesn't make. He probably makes $300,000. He doesn't need a $300,000 a year job. He probably, as in his pension, no kidding, he probably gets $300,000 a month in pension. He doesn't need this job.
That's right.
These are people that are rich. That what good is being rich if the country's destroyed? Then I'm not in my own little universe. And so these are people that are afraid the country's being destroyed. That's what I think. Are they going to be perfect? No. I think Trump's exposed, though, if he has his kids in the White House and he allows them to run their business. If Ivanka wants to sit in on meetings and she wants to be a special counsel, she's got to divest from her businesses.
Absolutely.
So do his sons. They can't be involved, period, the end. That's where he is wide-ass open for real, legitimate scrutiny.
And I've heard talk about articles of impeachment beginning day one, of course, based on that very
that'll never fly.
Yeah, I understand.
That's just crazy stuff they're putting out. Then Obama's doing the Israel thing.
Oh yeah.
And then the fake hacking. Let me tell you what. This is a big deal. He expelled 35 people and their families out of the United States, and then Putin says, we're not going to do anything at the moment. They also took control of their vacation properties, and who knows what they're doing. Hey, listen, I'm not saying the Russians don't commit espionage on the United States, but so do the Chinese, and so do the Iranians, and so do the Pakistanis, and so do the Israelis, and so does the French, and so do everybody does espionage on everybody, and we do espionage on everybody. But did they affect the election? Did the Russians affect the election? I think there were leaks and not hacks. Julian Assange said he did not get it from the Russians. He's never lied. He's never been caught in a lie.
Right.
The CIA and intelligence agencies, James Clapper sure has. But did the Russians force the people out there in Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania to vote for Trump?
Yeah, they held a gun to their. No, of course. Yeah.
And what Obama is doing is trying to do everything he can to discredit, even if it doesn't fly. He needs to discredit Trump and try to wound him and make him so that he can't govern. That's what he's trying to do. That's what all this is about. And I think some of this is backfiring in his face.
Exactly.
In Obama's face.
Yeah, this is to delegitimize or attempt to delegitimize the effectiveness of Trump. Yeah, absolutely. I believe that as well.
And I think they were caught off guard. That said they never. I heard somebody talk about this. They never figured out that a billionaire could say, this is bullshit. Sorry, BS. And I'm going to run. I don't need your money, Koch brothers. I don't need to kiss your ring.
Yep.
I don't need that.
That's right.
And I think he's been pretty magnanimous to people who were his, basically his enemies. I mean, now there's talk of maybe even Ted Cruz being stuck into the Supreme Court, which may not be a bad. He was Attorney General of Texas and believes in the Constitution. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, I think he's going to have his problems. He's got a huge bond bubble. You know, the rates have gone from the 10-year Treasury, everything's set off the 10-year. 30-year mortgages are set off the 10-year. It's weird. It seems like they should be set up the 30-year bond. They're not. So mortgage rates are going up, and the 10-year Treasury has gone up from, I don't know, in July, 1.3 or 4% to 2.5%. Wow, that's a huge move. That's a huge move. And, you know, as bonds go up, the values, you know, die, and the banks are so thinly capitalized that you've been told that debt is money, Federal Reserve note, and that debt is an asset, all these bonds. Well, how would you like to be holding Puerto Rico bonds in your portfolio? $70 billion. Poof, we're not paying.
Yeah.
That's what deflation is. We're not paying, we can't pay, we're not going to pay, sorry. That's deflation.
That's right.
And, you know, this debt is unpayable. I mean, I ask this all the time to people, hey, do you think you owe this $20 trillion? And they go, no. Yeah, you do. You do. You're going to pay.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, you're going to pay. You do. And that's the problem that Trump has, is this big bond debt.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Bush doubled the debt from roughly $5 trillion to $10 trillion. Obama, you know, took it, you know, on steroids and went from $10 trillion to $20 trillion. Yay! The cool black guy.
Yeah, right.
He indebted the hell out of us. I mean, and you know, and Mitch McConnell and the Republicans and what's his name, you know, Mr. Speaker of the House,
Ryan. Yeah, Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan. He was Mr. Budget expert, and they just kept funneling money in there until we've doubled the debt. And so, the problem is going to be, and this is the good thing about Trump. You may remember when early on, I don't know if you caught this early, because I cover the economy a lot. Because I'm fascinated by it, because that's the story of our time. Because that's going to be the precursor to everything. All the political crap that's going to happen is going to have an economic tint to it. And remember early on, in March, April, something like that, he's talking, you know, we have all this debt. You know, the Federal Reserve screwed us. They blew a bubble. You know, and we have all this debt. You know, I don't know, maybe we should reorganize this debt. Oh, he stopped talking about that. Maybe we should reorganize this debt. Oh, no full faith and credit? Right. Oh, you mean we're not going to give away, you know, like Iowa and Missouri as part of payment to China? Nope. No, we're not. No, we're not. Now, Hillary, maybe. All these federal lands that Obama is taking,
oh, yeah.
You know, are we going to collateralize that?
Yeah.
You know, we're going to try to collateralize that, and all of a sudden China's going to be building stuff over here in their new world order type. No, not with Trump. No, that ain't going to happen. He's going to reorganize. He's going to default. He's going to say you made a bad decision. We're not going to do all this. We're not going to do it. We're not going to pay all this money. We can't.
Man, the alternative.
We also have a trade deal where he lowers, where he actually gets inflation and lowers the value of the dollar. And so, you know, he's got some trade plans where we have to be more competitive. So things have to be, we have to be able to build things cheaper here and export. That's his big thing.
Greg Hunter, I got to cut you loose, brother. We're at the break. God bless you. Thanks for popping in, man. You were a firecracker as always. USA Watchdog. Thank you, sir. Talk soon.
Okay, see you.
Right.
Thanks a lot for having me on.
All right, bud. Folks, that'll Greg Hunter, USA Watchdog.com. We're right back. Stay right where you're at.